So that's good, huh?
Yeah. Looks really good. So we're live. Hey everyone, I'm DeFi Dad. This is Yield TV, episode 8. Man, I screw up that banner every time. I had the banner up. It's all ruined. We'll have to start over. No, we can get started here. Hi everyone. Thanks again for joining. It's Friday, so we get to have 3 guests today, which will be really fun. We've got Alex and Mick from PieDAO. PieDAO is, I think, one of the more exciting DeFi projects that I've been following the last 6 months. I actually didn't realize until this week that you guys had a liquidity mining program launching, and it's a really exciting project because you guys have really pushed being decentralized from day one. So anyways, you guys want to introduce yourselves, tell everyone, how you got started with the project and what exactly PieDAO is?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I'm Alex on Twitter. You guys might have seen me around a little bit. I've been starting with PieDAO at the concept stage, more or less 1 year ago, and then we really liked this idea of an asset allocation DAO, and eventually we came together with a bunch of DeFi folks, and actually came together with this project. We really wanted to create a tokenized portfolio allocation. We like to think about it like tokenized ETF. And that's what we did. So we are now at a couple of iterations later, and now we are ready to kick off our next launch and liquidity mining program and token launch and all these kind of things. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, and I'm Mick. I'm doing smart contract development at PieDAO, and that's what I do.
Can you guys can you remind me? Am I correctly explaining PieDAO as it's a bit like an ETF? But the idea is that each one of these pies gets decided upon in terms of how to weight those tokens, what tokens to create exposure to. Each of these pies is decided upon by a decentralized community. And then from there, once you decide on those, which we'll talk through them here in a sec, you can actually, folks could buy it through your website, or I think they can also go through Balancer, right?
Balancer, Uniswap, I think they're a little bit listed in a bunch of different AMMs at this point. But yes, you are correct. So pies are pretty much decentralized ETF in a way that the underlying index are actually decided by the community instead of some central authority in the first place. So there is usually some thoughtful discussion about the weighting of each one of these pie, which assets should be added, different models get shared within the community. In terms of how rankings will be done, or what are the criteria, what is the algorithm to actually weight these things on, and then once we come to consensus, we deploy the pool, which is actually ETF / liquidity pool in a way, as it's based on a custom implementation of balancer pools, and then you have a single token with diversified exposure to a bunch of different stuff, which automatically rebalance over time.
So DOE is the governance token, and what folks can see right now, they can see your screen where it says ready to diversify. So that governance token is that now available on pools and Balancer or Uniswap? It's a token that people can actually buy now?
It will actually be tomorrow. So tomorrow, around 1 p.m. UTC, we've been going through a process where the token was not transferable. Eventually, I think it was PIP 11, one of the community members made a proposal to actually make it transferable to start liquidity mining, and that kicked off the entire process of translating DOE V1 to DOE V2, and that will be available by tomorrow. Through DOE V2, you obviously have participation into PieDAO governance, but also we are kicking off some exciting news, which is meta governance, as a lot of these pies will have a bunch of different governance token in it, right? Like Uniswap and Comp. So we don't want that governance power to be wasted, and we are enabling meta governance by holding the pie through PieDAO.
Alex, can you show us what one of the pies looks like, and then if you can run us through this liquidity mining program? So the big change you've mentioned so far is we're going from DOE, which was distributed amongst the community that's been with you since you launched on mainnet, but now this will be a transferable token, and so that means that someone like myself or anyone else who doesn't have exposure already, the idea is that if I hold that token, I can now I can vote on the future of these ETF-like pies that you guys offer on.
Correct.
Cool.
You can create you can make your own proposal. You can join the governance process with any other pie which are existing. You can propose a rebalance. You can change fees within the pies if you like. Actually, in this release, we also introduced streaming fees, which is something new. So yeah, you basically have full power to join the entire governance cycle. Awesome. So in terms of how pi look like, I think a great example is DeFi plus S, which you will also find on Balancer. This is a diversified application of DeFi tokens, and it's like a smaller piece of a larger pie, which is called DeFi plus plus, which will actually include a variety of different other tokens in the large cap space, like Comp, Uni, obviously, YFI, and a few others.
Very cool. Very cool. And this is, and again, this is mirroring like what you're using as Balancer, I think, for all of these pies right now, right? I mean, you could use Uniswap, but then you're limited to 2 tokens versus up to 8 tokens.
That is correct. Actually, we do compose pi. Like, the way DeFi plus looks like is for now, like 30% DeFi plus L, DeFi plus S, like, which is the small pi we are looking at right now, and 70% the large cap. So because Balancer has this limitation of 8 tokens, then you need to combine these things in a way that you can extend it. But that's also very interesting because, like, if you take, for instance, BTC++, which is Bitcoin exposure, and then you put it together with DeFi++, then you're basically having like exposure to a bunch of different things.
That's right. That's the coolest thing to me is as you guys find pies that are working or performing better, you can combine them into like some super inception pie. Can you, Alex, we've probably got about 2 minutes before I need to jump over with Ricardo. Could you walk us through like what's all the rewards that are available here for being a liquidity provider?
Sure, I'll go super quick then. So since the migration is happening, we are encouraging people to actually feed liquidity into some different pools. Some of these are obviously pi, like you can see over here, DeFi plus S DAI on Uniswap, or DeFi plus S with ETH. But obviously the DOE/ETH pool, which is the one which is going to be instantiated tomorrow, will be the larger one, and will have basically order of magnitude greater rewards than anything else. We actually decided to deploy like a very small pool, which everybody can test out today through the community, but you can also do that. So, feel free to jump on over there. If you want to try the staking interface, it's very simple, something that people will feel familiar with. This is obviously assuming you already have the BPT tokens for DeFi plus S. If otherwise, you can, create it over here, and then, you just click stake, and that's pretty much it. Like, I'm gonna make it fast.
Can you remind me too, Alex? So I'm on pools.pidao.org right now. How do I get to the page that you are on? What page?
This one? You just need to click on stake over here.
Stake. Okay, there we go. So let's see here. So guys, that is, I'll copy it in here into the banner on screen just so folks can see that.
Yeah, and right now there's only the testing pool, right? And tomorrow we'll start the migration, and then the other pools will go online.
Very cool. Yeah. So that's the website. Again, you can find it if you go to pidao.org and hit launch app. And yeah, I guess anything else though, guys, you want to mention here? I mean, it's multiple pools. Each pool has exposure to an array of tokens. This is not financial advice. I'm not advising or recommending that someone do this, but if one wanted exposure to the tokens in that pool, it's a way to gain that exposure and at the same time earn rewards, which is really, it's the definition of yield farming. You're providing liquidity and earning multiple forms of return all at once. So this is really cool. I haven't really seen, I got to say, like, one of the things I find really interesting here is that normally when you provide liquidity, it's up to 2 tokens in most cases, like most of the other yield farming programs. All of these have exposure to multiple tokens. So again, check out the tokens. I always ask myself, do I want exposure to this? If the answer is yes, it's like, all right, well, I might as well earn some rewards while I'm at it.
That's it, right? Like, and then some rebalancing mechanisms are different from others. So like right now, DeFi plus S, for instance, rebalances only on very controlled time windows. So that means that you also don't get impermanent loss while you are inside DeFi plus S, which I think it's something that people don't often realize as they think about balancer pool in a different ways. But that's what the custom implementation of PyDAO also enables, to only have trading enabled for very short amount of times with controlled time frames.
One last question for you. Are all of these contracts audited, or should folks just be mindful if they aren't audited? Actually, even if they are, just per usual, use a lot of discretion that this is new. There's always smart contract risk no matter what DeFi app you're using.
Mickey, you want to get that?
I've been audited by Quantstamp, but still.
Great. Hey, I mean, no, it helps. It helps,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
actually Quantstamp and Mixbytes for the migration, audited the other ones. We often work with an independent researcher from the EF, which is Scott. He looks at our contract from time to time. But obviously, always be mindful of smart contract risk. This entire DeFi thing is very new, as you guys know. You shouldn't jump on everything you don't understand. Please be mindful about it.
I feel like the trend is don't put money into this, and then one day goes by and a bunch of money shows up and everyone goes, must be safe, YOLO, and then they just deposit. So it's not a best practice. Well, Alex, Mick, good to see you guys again. Thanks for coming on. Definitely love to have you guys back again in the future. It would be 3 times that Mick has been on. And good luck with this. This is really cool. I love the branding behind PyDAO. I've been obsessed with it since you guys launched. So really, really cool stuff.
DeFi Dad, love the show. Keep doing your thing. I think it's great, and I'm excited to hear about the next guest. Thanks for having us.
So much. Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thanks.
And also head over on our Discord. I didn't see you there much lately.
I need to hop in there. I'm overwhelmed by all the different Discords. Actually, yesterday we had on Dennis and Bertram, and we were talking through governance and just how there's so much actually happening in so many different communities. It's overwhelming, but it's a good overwhelming. So guys, have a great day. I'll see you later.
See ya.
Ciao. Thank you.
All right, Ricardo, I got you now. Let me go and stop sharing that screen. Okay, everyone. So this is my friend Ricardo Diaz. We've known each other for maybe about 6 months ago, and it was just because Ricardo reached out and we were talking DeFi and realized that he does a lot of inspiring work onboarding folks in Argentina, at least I know of, but it sounds like you've worked with folks in other countries as well. And Ricardo has a background in enterprise solutions. He's worked at all the big name companies like Oracle. But what I think is really interesting is now you're using that skill set with BRD Wallet, which is one of the largest non-custodial wallet providers in the world. They've got something like 6 million people using the wallet. So what's up, dude? Thanks for coming on the show.
No, hey, thanks for having me, man. It's exciting. The relationship with you has been awesome. I think it's been interesting. I've been in this space only for about 4 years, but in tech for 25. And my family's all from Argentina. I'm 100% blood, but I was born here. And for me, the opportunities that this technology provides for my friends, my family in Argentina has been super exciting. So it's been good to.
Ricardo, can you tell folks more about? You've talked to me before about there is obviously a lot of people who depend upon and are using regularly Bitcoin, and then also there's an Ethereum, call it a support group or whatever, but there's a lot of users of DAI in Argentina. Can you talk about tell folks more about I'd love to hear more about the Bitcoin embassy, stuff like that.
So I've been traveling back and forth to Argentina for decades, right, my whole life, and I finally got an opportunity to move down there and with my family to Buenos Aires, and I got connected to the Bitcoin community down there, and it was just I've been living in Charlotte, and down there, I'm like, all right, well, I heard about this huge crypto community in Argentina, but I wanted to get connected to it. So the I mean, the Bitcoin group alone was like 7,000 people. They have their own building, and then the Ethereum community is also big. They have and it's not I don't feel that there's as much of the whole competition between the two. Like I tell people, I'm more crypto Switzerland. It really doesn't matter to me. It's one or the other. But yeah, it was so in this community that of course, the use case of using crypto is something that resonates with them, because the country has been my whole life I've been hearing about it. My family, it's the government goes up and down, the instability of that, and then the banking system is not something that not every Argentinian trusts, and they have these the typical life cycle of a lot of friends and families that they do, because they're dealing with hyperinflation, is that they'll get paid in pesos, and then whatever they need to keep in pesos, they'll keep that in their bank account. And then the rest, they have to figure out how they can buy dollars, fiat currency, to protect just their basic income, right? And so, because in any given day, the price can fluctuate, and you can have $100 in the morning, and in the afternoon you have 30% less. And so, dealing with, I never lived like that before. So when I was down there living it was just when I went down to Argentina last year, it was 40 to 1, the peso to the dollar. And then, excuse me.
Oh, what is it now? Isn't it like 130 to 1?
Yeah, now it's black market rates are up to 140, 145 to 1. I left when I came for the holidays here in Silicon Valley, which I got stuck in at my parents' place. It was 125 to 1. So it's just to show you in the 6 months that I was in Argentina, that just happened to the peso. Now there's the official dollar, which is it's typically the bank dollar that nobody really uses, which is around 75 to 1. And this is what, if you use your credit card, and a U.S. credit card, you're paying that rate. But again, I think the challenge that they have is that when you have hyperinflation, and this happens to your basic income, it's not like when the peso goes through the roof that suddenly they say, okay, everybody's salary is going to also go up, right? So friends and family have been dealing with this economic instability for years, and sometimes it gets better, sometimes it gets worse, but it's and for me, I started off in the crypto space, in the whole social impact around helping using blockchain identity or decentralized identity to help fight human trafficking. And the other ethos around here is just really using this technology and this new form of money to really, the whole banking, the bank is real. And I think I meet a lot of people that talk about it and projects that talk about it. But when you have to actually live in a country where, when they go, if they have to figure out how to take their pesos and convert it to dollars, what do they do? The most common process is that they have to go to these caves, as they call them, or cuevas, and they'll go monthly or every 2 weeks to a cave, and where they get an exchange rate for their pesos. They don't want to go to the bank, because the bank, they're getting 75 to 1. But if they go to black markets, they can get 135 to 1 for their peso, for example. And so, but there's a risk in that, and it's not dangerous. Not everybody has access to knowing a friend of a friend, but everybody knows somebody who's doing this every 2 weeks, right? And because of that, it's created this black market for exchanging money. And then when
again, Ricardo, it's like a blue dollar. What's the term
the blue dollar is what they call the black market dollar, which you can go to these caves and get, depending. There's if you go to some of the streets where the tourists hang out, those are, you can get one rate, but it fluctuates. But they publish the blue dollar price online. There's something called the dollar map, and the official dollar. And so, if in finance, it's one of those things that, okay, when they want to do business in dollars, you have all these different options, but the everyday person really has, I think my cousins in Cordoba, they don't know someone that works in a cueva, and so they just have to deal with. I have one cousin that works in translations, right, and she gets paid in euros, and when the euros get deposited into her bank account, she's losing money, right, and so I taught her taught her is like, hey, just have them pay you in Bitcoin or DAI, and now she gets paid. They give her ETH, and I've taught her how to switch it to DAI, and DAI, as far as all the different coins down there, Bitcoin is obviously is popular on Ethereum, but DAI has been the one stable coin that's been the most used and popular, and I think it's also because of the whole maker community. Conti, obviously, one of the leaders in our space, but also Mariano. I can never pronounce his last name right.
I know.
Mariano. So
other Mariano.
The other Mariano. So both of them have been real great for this space and then there's different exchanges down there from Satoshi Tango to Buenbit. But to keep it simple, I think that's the beautiful thing about crypto. And the bad thing about crypto is that if you get involved, it is very complicated. But with Maker and DAI,
for the folks that you just mentioned, like who are converting as quickly as they can, let's say from like Ether to DAI, or once they get their fiat into an exchange and converting to something like Bitcoin, Ether, DAI. What are some of the DeFi tools they're using? I know one of them you've talked to me about is the Argent wallet. Obviously, I would assume you working at BRD, like you could talk to me about that a bit. But like, what are some of the tools, like non-custodial wallets? And I'm curious, like, are folks using Uniswap? Like, what applications are?
I think it all depends on the level of comfort and obviously risk, right? The people that I brought on board, the more obviously, if you want to just store in a really secure wallet and be able to buy Bitcoin, then BRD is a wallet for you. The tools that before I joined BRD, the wallet that MetaMask is a great wallet, right? But it was just trying to explain to friends and family and even banking executives I work with is
MetaMask. It's a powerful tool, but it's easier to open up a mobile wallet, like BRD, which is multi-chain, versus Argent, which is Ethereum only.
Yeah, exactly. But so the Argent wallet I liked at the time, and I'm a cybersecurity guy too. So Argent, they've been able to do away with seed phrases and just use their security mechanism. Was the first thing that attracted me to that wallet. And then obviously having smart contract capabilities of being able to just easily show when first we have to find the processes. And why friends and family, they want to figure out a better way to protect their money. It's number one, is safety. Is if I can use an exchange to connect it to my, Banco de Galicia or one of these banks, that's step one. Let's you get connected to an exchange so you can buy DAI. And then the step two is, all right, well, you don't ever want to keep your money on an exchange. That's a security risk, no matter what. And so it was always easier. Let's get them. If you want to be able to invest in DeFi and you want to just, instead of just protecting your income, you want some of that money to work for you. That was always the second step that I would educate friends and family with and say, all right, look, now that you've been able to do, instead of going to a cave and putting your life at risk or God forbid you get robbed, now you have your money that's been converted to the equivalent. You're not going to get the blue market rates, but you're going to get something, Buenbit, good price. It depends. One that the most common exchange that we used when it came to DAI was Buenbit, and then the second step was, all right, let's use a wallet like Argent, and then it's secure, and then you can go right into some of these different DeFi products, and showing someone some of the basics, like, all right, the most basic savings account, instead of it learning 0.5% that you're or nothing or negative in some of these traditional banking services. Now let's show you how you can earn between 1% to 5% and maybe a compound by investment, right? And you can do that right from the wallet. And then the ones that wanted to do something a little more aggressive is like, all right, well, let's just use Aave or one other, there's another, and then show them and educate them what are the more volatile tokens that it's higher risk, and you're going to go up and down, but maybe Aave and the synthetic, my favorite one was that people money with Aave with SNX, and a lot of friends will do that, and get some days I'll get phone calls and texts going, awesome, it's going up, but then just like crypto, things go up and down. But at the end, giving these tools to people who not used to it, and when you have companies like Argent and even BRD with their wallet, it's not just about secure, but that user experience has to be right on. And then also because it's still complicated, right? It's still, the world that I'm living in now, where we're underneath the covers of the Bit wallet is a new product line called Blockset, and just trying to bridge between traditional finance and crypto is one of our goals, right? And so traditional finance, that they want to get Bitcoin and into their mobile apps and their banking apps, right? And what we see is like, okay, DeFi is still, there's great investments, and the innovation that's happening in financial services software that's in crypto is at an accelerated pace, and traditional finance can't do that. And so I really see, all of the strength that we're doing in DeFi and all the innovations and really trying to replicate those products. 9-12 months from now, I can definitely see, the major banks saying, all right, now that I've got crypto, in my phone, and yes, it's a custodial solution that banks use because it's the law. They can't have a non-custodial solution with their customers and their customers' money. But still, it's being able to say, hey, one day, if you want just that easy button, or if you want to take your Bitcoin instead of it sitting in your wallet, your bank wallet, then let's on the back end just create software that you're using, Aave, you're using synthetic, you're using, the Run Bridge to convert that, all what you do every day in all your lessons, which are, the tutorials are fantastic, because they take the regular user and say, all right, how can I do some of this? I don't know about liquidity pools and how to, and rewards and staking, but your videos are fantastic because it takes you through that stepwise approach. And what we're trying to do is,
thank you. I just sending it off to Ricardo. There's and then
I love it.
Videos are really crystal clear, and tell them how smooth my voice is. And thank you.
Yeah.
I think an interesting point you just made, or at least it came to mind as I was listening to you, is that when you think about fintech and what's exciting, years ago, I know, like, at least in the United States, robo-advisors became really interesting. And the idea was that it's like automated money software. Then you get to Robinhood, and everyone's like, holy cow, I can trade for essentially zero fees, and I can pull my money out whenever I want. And I will say Robinhood did as good a job as anyone of enabling like instant deposits. It wasn't always instant, but in most cases, once you started using the app, it felt instant. These are all features of using DeFi. These are all features of crypto, like instant transactions. You're just more in control. So for me, like watching Robinhood play out, and can't say, I think like with Betterment, like I think it's just it's allowing someone to earn without having to think a whole lot about it, which to me is one of the promising things about like lending or using something like finance, where you throw in your DAI and it moves it pool at the highest interest, or you use a Y vault and it automates a yield farming strategy. Each one of these are powerful money automation applications, and that's the goal. Is you shouldn't have to be a quant trader to take advantage of this stuff. You should be the type of person who can simply manage that non-custodial wallet and be able to then take advantage of it. So anyways, yeah, just good stuff. I've never really thought about it until you said that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I know it's against the ethos of the decentralization, but when you look at this $1 trillion industry on the traditional finance side, and you look at all these rock stars that are just crushing it on financial services software of the next generation, and yes, there's hacks, there's all these risks, but when you can kind of separate the signal from the noise, and you see some of the great things that these products are doing, and the rate of change, that's what's attractive, and it's is a registered investment advisor that's working for Merrill Lynch or in a big bank going to start using Aave or whatever liquidity pool or Zapper to zap in some of their funds. Probably not yet, but it's coming, right? And I think the DeFi space and the crypto space to support mass market adoption, if we can make this technology simpler, just like you saw how the evolution of the browser went from that Netscape Mosaic browser to now you have these slick user interfaces, and it's what we firmly believe at BRD as far as the future of the space is when we look at what the browser was in the 90s, and if it wasn't for the browser, you'd never have Netflix on your phone. That's what the crypto wallet is today, and the evolution of it. We have a partner that's another SBI Holdings investment called Tangem, and they have a wallet that's doing crypto on their wallet as well as decentralized identity. So using the sovereign network and you're seeing what MetaMask is doing as far as a real Web3 wallet. So the merge of this type of mobile technology for bank or for finance is happening, right? You're starting to see more of these services in the crypto wallet, and it's exciting, And for me at BRD, I've got this great chain database that aggregates all of the different coins, and then we have partnerships with CipherTrace and Chainalysis that can provide you with scores of the actual the Bitcoin address, and whether it's from North Korea or terrorists. So all of these important things, compliance, security are the kind of tools and what traditional finance people expect. And in open finance, it's one of those elements, but it's also a big risk. But I think as groups like yours, like Zapper, where you've got this great dashboard, I can manage my assets. It's an asset management platform in the language of value of traditional finance, right? But it's doing more, right? So not just be able to see your investments, but now you can zap right into different liquidity pools, and you've made it one step less complicated, right? What MakerDAO's done and Synthetics, all of these companies that they start off, it's a little complex. And then the innovations you're starting to see, and what Andre's done with Yearn Finance, and that was the first time when I saw the first website where it was just like these 3 columns of just that simplicity. That's what I foresee, that in the future, my mom or the older people, gray hairs like me that don't get crypto, they're just going to want to have that button. That's something similar, just to zap into this. You're going to earn X number of % yield, and it's this level of risk, and that's it. And if I want to rebalance my investments, it's making that process of managing your finances simple and not having to do all of the yield bouncing that's typical. Yeah, for me, this is when I see this simplicity. Yeah, it's easy.
People will say, I've heard this is a criticism that I'm not hearing as much nowadays, but 6 months ago, there was still this narrative playing out of, Ethereum's UX needs to get better. A lot of these applications. And I'm like, have you tried this? Have you tried Aave? Like, have you tried Compound? Have you tried token sets? Yeah. Have you tried the guys we just had on from PyDAO? Like, what do you want? Do you want me to click the goddamn mouse for you? I mean, this stuff is not, it's not, what it is it's empowering you in many cases with controls that you're not used to having. And so should we be criticizing the fact that DeFi allows you to do so much more? Or should we be criticizing the financial illiteracy that is rampant across the world? Because we just don't, for some reason, I can say, at least in the United States, we do an awful job of educating people. And as a result, it leaves a lot of people behind. But I'd rather throw these powerful tools out there and work on continually improving this to make this as easy as possible, so that the average person can say, hey, I got exposure to any of these. All I got to do then is just deposit into this and take advantage of whatever is the performance. What's the performance over the last 3 days? This is 1.1% annualized. This is 12%. So a lot of rabbit holes you can go down that. Often, Ricardo, you could run circles around me with this. When you are selling, when you used to work at like an Oracle, there are times, right, when you're selling a solution and you have 99 of the 100 checkboxes there for someone. But then you have folks on the other end that you're trying to sell to who are saying, well, Ricardo, that one thing we like really were looking forward to. And their idea, if you just go with the flow and let them continue to think that, their idea is, I can go find the 99 boxes plus the one that I'm looking for. And it's really about talking through like, well, what were you expecting out of that? How would you benefit? And sort of weighing the pros and the cons of what's there. And to me, that's why with DeFi, it's like, how can you look away from what you're capable of doing here? How can you, once you do a crypto transaction and you send some Bitcoin, some Ether, some DAI, you sit there and you go, whoa, like that was incredible. Like that I can just, that it's like that, it's that quick. So
it's crazy. I mean, that was when I got down to Argentina, and I was trying to figure out how to get money in, and I wasn't using crypto because I didn't know the exchanges yet. I didn't know about Bunbit, and I didn't have a bank account in Argentina. My cousins did, and it was just we were using Western Union, and so and Western Union's rates are at the time like, oh, cool, I can get Western Union. It's better than the bank dollar, great. But then when we started using DAI and just the speed of it, and I started my friends, my family, they would say, I would, receive money, and if you go to process through a bank, you're going to pay, you're going to lose more money, right? But if you get, U.S. dollars into an RG bank, so you have that issue, and the speed of it and that part of it definitely is great for you, at least in this economy where they're used to just getting, they don't have the best issues, right? They don't have the best experiences with it. So I think at one point, even the stuff that we have, I think the example we just showed with you with Yearn, and what's happening is that there's a lot of these crypto projects that are now focused on UX, and then the partnerships. What I love about this concept of money Legos is that, what BRD does, we do some things really well, and we've got a great wallet. We've got a great backend database for all your crypto. It's basically a database platform with cryptocurrencies, right? And that you can build on. And when you see and the relationships that we're talking with different DeFi projects, but we know what we do well, but we also believe in this modular architecture and bringing in partners. And if you're a crypto asset management company or project that you're doing this in the crypto space and you want exposure to traditional finance projects, then talk to us. We love to talk to these kind of these crypto projects that are looking beyond just the crypto, the $400 billion industry, and looking into, well, shit, banks now can be custodians, and that's a $135 trillion market. In the U.S. it's $75 trillion, and if you have the money Legos that you can offer up to these traditional finance enterprise architects and companies, and you first start with, what's the language of value to a bank, which is, okay, if I can show you how we can enable your digital asset strategy for top line growth, that's all you have to talk about. But how it happens, it's our responsibility in this space to make it simple, right? And it's like the years of engineering that we've done in the crypto space and what we bring to the table. We say, all right, we're great at mobile security, mobile wallet, crypto wallets. We're great at managing the data. What do you want to do? And then we start there with these relationships and partnerships that are great. And that way you reduce this time to market, and you can really start help crypto projects and our crypto industry brothers and sisters, but also start saying, all right, what can we do that's awesome in DeFi? And that's evolving, and trying to keep up with, Andre's brain and his ideas is impossible. But you see that happening, and then maybe 6-9 months down the road, when can you offer up those services to traditional finance people is the vision, right? So.
Yeah. Well, actually, I have a question here, kind of related back to the BRD wallet. Will you guys let me access DeFi at some point? I want to access Uniswap, DeFi platforms, and stake coins. Anyways, yeah, do you guys have that anywhere in your roadmap? Or I'm not sure if there's anything you could talk about today that's coming.
Yeah. I think we get that question a lot. And I think one of the, for sure, I mean, we're looking at all of the different, projects out there. But what's made us one of the most popular wallets is a couple of things, right? It's the security and integrity and reliability in the user experience of our community. We're protecting over 6 billion in assets of people that have in our mobile wallet. And so to say that we have, it's not that we're conservative. It's just more of we're trying to protect our users. And so some of the DeFi projects are more stable than others. But I think the great thing about what we're doing with Blockset is we're saying, all right, now let's work. If we have a project with a bank that wants this development and we're working with the development team, let's work with our engineers in the DeFi project to say, all right, let's kick out the tires and work in the sandbox environments and make it work and make sure, because a bank isn't going to invest or traditional finance isn't going to invest in any of that, unless it's already been kind of they've seen that there's no risk. And right now the perception is that this is a very high risk for this world. And for us, we're trying to protect our users, but it's for sure on the roadmap. I mean, we see where it's going. I'm on your show representing the company. We love working with DeFi projects, and it's just a matter of saying, all right, well, when time is ready for us, and as we develop together, we'll for sure add these services. You should see things more in the next 6 to 12 months. But again, it's our ethos is always a great user experience, security, and integrity of the consumer app.
Ricardo, can you talk to me more about, so what are some of the biggest learning lessons for those that are friends, family that you've onboarded to DeFi? Like it could be applications, like just learning to use those, or maybe some of the concepts behind crypto. Anyways, what do folks struggle with the most to get them from zero to one?
Yeah, I think some of the big things, like, and again, why I use Argent as an example, then some of our traditional wallets at first, if it's a user, there's a touch, so there's a user that has no idea, never heard, like my mom, she doesn't know anything about crypto. And then you have more, banking executives or engineers that know a little more. But the typical ones is just like dealing with seed phrases. And when you're installing a wallet, and then you tell them, okay, install this app. And then the first thing it asks is like, okay, you gotta hear your seed phrases, and you gotta remember them, you gotta write them down, you gotta put them in a certain order, and then you gotta store that away in a safe place, not on your phone, and don't take a picture of it. All these things. It's like, so that's the big barrier. And like in the BRD wallet, we just released iCloud backup because it's important to store these seed phrases. So something happens. That the first one is managing. Now you're dealing with money. People understand that it's their money, and the first thing they want to know is it's secure, right? And all I hear about crypto, it gets hacked all the time and all this negative press, and they don't know anything about it. So you fight that perception, and then when you install a wallet that's immediately asking you for all the seed phrases, you better have an easy option to manage those phrases, like we've done, or something. So that's the first one, is just the usability when it comes from a security perspective, and then using guardians like Argent is important, and the evolution of multi-factor tech and MPC, multi-party compute technology that we see. That's again, when you think of when I talk about first, second, third generation, fourth generation wallets, first one was just hold your crypto, right? Is able to buy, sell, trade. Third is what you're seeing now with these smart contract wallets, and then fourth are ones that are secure using MPC technology, and then using all this other,
I know the term, and there was a talk at like Ethereal Tel Aviv. I attended it, but in all honesty, I've totally forgotten it now. What can you explain what is MPC, or what's the benefit to the user? You don't need to go into the technical matters of it. Just how does a user benefit from this?
Yeah, it's an evolution of the space. Instead of multi-sig, MPC or multi-party compute is what all the HSM, the evolution of HSM, hardware security modules, and as you've seen in the evolution of how the security on your phone, phone or your Android, now it's protected by a secure enclave hardware chip technology, right? And so what you're seeing now, so how can I have that same type of security, but for my crypto, can I store my crypto keys in the secure enclave, right? And so we're MPC, so as we see is, being able to manage the security at the hardware layer is important, but also is what MPC does is being able to have multiple parties sign off on a transaction, right? Like multi-sig, but it's a little more advanced, and it's the evolution of security and policy management when it comes to dealing with millions and millions of dollars in a wallet, right? Or at a bank, if you have to move 100 million in crypto, from point A to point B, the bank has laws and legislation and rules around how many signatures have to be controlled by the bank, for example. And so that's where MPC technology comes in play. That's where these virtual HSM technologies, like Unbounds is an on-premise virtual HSM, and then we get Fireblocks and Curve, which do this kind of security in the cloud, right? But all of that combined addresses the evolution and where the crypto wallets are going to go. There right now is just seed phrases and trusting the security of that phone. But in the future, you can see, a custodian wallet. Our one of our biggest customers is a bank in Japan, and they've created a crypto custody wallet. So that's using MPC technology for their bank customers, right? And so SBI is the bank, and so that addressing when it comes to money, if you have a good security offering, a solution, it's going to benefit everybody in the space. So I don't know if that answered your question, but it's
no, absolutely. Yeah, it helps. I mean, I think it's interesting, this idea of what generation of wallet we're in, and there's no doubt, mobile wallets that are meant to be more dummy-proof, which I could speak more to, like Argent, having used it with DeFi. It's been huge. It's been huge to not have to explain to friends and family, here's how you acquire Ether, and then you got to send it to a MetaMask. At the same time, too, it's like two very different users, which we didn't have before. Before it was like, hey, hop into, whatever wallet it was. But now, now it's the fact that I can segment, and I can talk to my friend who's more interested in really deep diving into DeFi, really like understanding how to take advantage of something like Y vaults versus the person who's just getting started. Putting everything into a single window is really powerful. That's how enterprise software gets sold. That's how like the most common like SaaS solutions are sold. It's the idea of keeping you in one place and creating this one-stop shop, which is kind of like a Salesforce CRM. Mm-hmm. I think those concepts can be applied in our space, and I think that's why wallets are really interesting. Like it's a place for growth, and you're seeing wallets continue to aggregate more utility. Like the Dharma wallet has Uniswap implemented in it, and it's not. How do I want to say this? Someone could criticize me and say, "Why don't you just go use Uniswap? Like you know how to do that." Yes, that's right. I know how to do that. But the average user, and I have a bunch of friends who have used the Dharma wallet who are new to DeFi, and were asking me, like, how do I get access to some of these tokens? And I'm like, oh, that's easy. Just you use this Dharma wallet. It's all there. They're not complaining to me that the rate is a little bit different or paying as much attention to the details that sophisticated users are more worried about. When they see it all in one place, it just becomes very beneficial to their onboarding experience.
No, it is. Look, what I've been saying for years, and this is what BRD does, and our Blocks of product line is, you have to make the complex simple. All right, people. First of all, we have this challenge in this space where people are just not aware of what crypto is. It's so complicated, right? Right. And yeah, if you're a mathematician, you get it. If you're photographers, you get it. Developers understand it, but at the end of the day, it's not. Those aren't the personas that are buying millions of dollars of software. And this is what we see. But the evolution, if you just take the business side of it, you have to have the experience of, if you want to put a finance access in the hands of people who are less fortunate, right? People who in the whole ethos around a decentralized wallet, and really bank through your mobile app and in a mobile first type initiative. you have to, as an individual startup, you definitely have to focus on what you're good at, but you need to have companies like ours and others that are saying, all right, how can we use some of the great things and how can we keep up with the innovations and not just do crypto, but do decentralized identity, do, savings and investing, connect with my traditional bank and have that, experience on my phone. And if I want something that's more secure and stable from a transaction perspective, I use my crypto wallet in the Web 3.0 world. If I just want to get access to my bank account, checking account, if I want to use my checking account to pay for crypto so I can store that in my wallet, that's utopia for bank executives. Like, I don't want to go through a third-party exchange to do the coin switching. I would like for them to, buy crypto and then I connect directly to to an exchange. But which is why we're partnering with exchanges and saying, all right, fiat exchanges, payment gateways, hey, let's get your tech, wrap it under the covers into our technology and show that to a bank executive and say, hey, phase one, let's get crypto into your phone. And phase two, if you wanted to do, work with an exchange, here we've got, one of our partners that can help you do that. So it's great. I think it's, we're getting there. Awareness is probably the number one issue, as you know, that educating people. People are not going to buy what they don't know. Security, making that better and making it easier. And then, reducing the complexity of what we do every day, and then, having great, tutorials and what you're doing and what you've done in this space, Travis, has been fantastic. So it's great. I point people to your tutorials.
Your way. Thank you. No, that's really generous of you. Ricardo, I've got to cut us off in 2 minutes. I'm wondering, anything else that, just anything else in terms of DeFi adoption or, management of wallets, which is kind of like foundational to anyone's success in this space. Anything else you'd like to leave folks with, like one key takeaway from today?
I think it's just try to make the complex simple, right? If you're a crypto project, and we're getting there, right? I think that, for beginners, it's just the basics. Just do not invest in something that you're not willing to lose, right? In this space, if you're willing to go to Vegas and put $100 down, you're depositing money. It's to be the same thing in crypto right now. But if you want to get, once you get past the noob stage, I think that then they learn about the risks and the things that you talk about all the time, like what are smart contract risks, what are, if you're not auditing your project or don't have a bug bounty. I think it's the evolution of that. I think it's, you are interested in the space, get educated, all right, understand what the risks are, and then obviously watch tutorials like by DeFi Dad. So
that's a good the thing about risk. Just like, because we all think about this education of onboarding and helping someone know how to do something, but it's really important you understand the risk. It's really important to know that, two-factor authentication was like a must when I was using exchanges or centralized exchanges, and so it's funny because I don't think as much about that nowadays, just because when you're working with non-custodial wallets, it's more about what's my backup plan? What happens if I lose all the devices that might have access to this? And those are really important things to think ahead and essentially think about, what happens if I die? What happens if I lose all my devices? What happens if my house burns down? They sound like, kind of extreme, scenarios to think about, but it's but you got to plan ahead, especially if you have family or that would, I guess, inherit whatever wealth one might accumulate.
There's a whole space in the traditional finance. It's called interest banks, where they have the inheritance people that focus on helping people. And so it's that's a whole space we into. You combine NPC technology and the security of custodial solutions, and then you have it's business process management. Is that how can you make this simple for people? How can I easily transfer my keys to somebody that I don't have to sit there and say, okay, here's the key. It's that. I think we're there, and the innovation that's happening in the space from a crypto fintech is phenomenal, and we'll get there. I think that it's not going to happen overnight, but some of these use cases are going to come to the surface more as far as usability, security, and reliability of these products, and also now the evolution of bridging CeFi and DeFi. That's what I do today. That's what keeps me excited, and it still gives me goosebumps thinking about how of the opportunity that we have of connecting these two worlds with all the great things that's happening in DeFi and in crypto. It's really exciting.
It's really exciting. So. Yeah. Well, hey man, thanks for coming on. Great to see you, and have a great weekend. And I hope we can have you back sometime.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's been great to have me. Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks, Ricardo. So I'm going to do just a very quick walkthrough for anyone who's still on of the Lend to Aave token migration that's coming. It's going to happen at 6 p.m. tonight. So let me go and share my screen. Here we go. If you follow Aave at, it is AAVE, so that's Aave. That's their Twitter account. Go there. You'll find this post pinned to the top of their account, and it's just a Medium post that'll show you at 6 p.m. Eastern. This should show up on their website, which is, let me just double check. It's aave.com, AAVE.com, but it'll be the app.aave.com. So if one has Lend, you can migrate it to the new token, which will be Aave. I believe it's 100 Lend to one new Aave token. So this is a much smaller supply of tokens in comparison to the legacy Lend token that goes all the way back to 2017. And here we go. Here's the key summary of it. 16 million total supply. And let's see, we've got 13 million will be redeemed by Lend token holders. So that's someone like me or anyone who holds Lend. And then 3 million Aave tokens will be allocated to the Aave ecosystem reserve. So here's what it looks like. The menu on the far left of the screen, it will show this migration portal. It currently doesn't show this. And then, yeah, it's pretty simple. You should be able to just go in there, and it's kind of like any DeFi Ethereum application. You're going to go through an approval step, so that should be a smaller fee. And then after you give permission to move your Lend token, you are then upgrading to the Aave token. And let's see if there's anything else. Cool. You should see a congratulations screen. So anyways, it's a big deal for the Aave community. I've used Aave to borrow against my collateral, and it's very user-friendly. But then also if you deposit tokens, you can earn interest. So if I deposit 1 ETH, I get 1 AETH as an Aave ETH, and then I'm earning interest on that, whether I've borrowed against it or not. And those tokens are transferable. So I can, potentially use Aave interest earning tokens to collateralize on other DeFi applications. So anyways, guys, that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed Yield TV. We'll be back on Monday. I'm trying to figure out a few of our guests next week. We will have a coin artist who's the founder of Blockade Games, and they're coming out with a new NFT powered game called Neon District. But she also launched a personal token called Coin, which I think has been interesting because she's sort of meshing some yield farming principles with a personal token. And to be completely honest, I haven't dug into it much, so I'm really excited to learn from Marguerite de Courcelle, I think is her last name. So anyways, thanks so much for joining me, everyone, and we will see you next week.